Hello everyone, welcome to this video, which is a statue display tour. I usually do one of these videos every year, and I think it's been more than a year now since I did my last one, so now is probably a good time for me to do a new one. Quite a lot has actually also happened to my collection and my display over the past year, so I'm really excited to go over all these changes with you. I had to let go of some pieces, but I also got some new pieces instead. And I changed a bit the way that I'm arranging stuff and how I'm displaying other pieces on my walls and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna go over all those things over the course of this video here. As you can see, I'm still using the same display cabinets as I've been showing in my previous videos. So I won't go into too much detail about that. Instead, you can check out my article that I wrote on the topic, in which I also go into much greater detail about how my display cabinets are actually put together. But basically they consist of the IKEA Besta series that I got in the dark brown blackish versions here, and on the front of each cabinet you can see that I have these glass doors that are called Tombow. They are also from IKEA. Unfortunately they have been discontinued, so you can't actually get them at retail anymore. But they were ideal though, because well, you have this very slim metal profile that gives you a really good view inside the cabinets. So it's a big shame that IKEA decided to discontinue these glass doors here. But yeah, I don't think it's impossible to obtain them today, but you kind of have to be a bit lucky, I guess. But that's probably what I'm gonna mention about the display itself. In this video, I think I'm going to focus more on the actual content, the collectibles that I have on display here. And yeah, I'm just gonna start from one end, I think, and then eventually we'll have gone over everything more or less. So yeah, I hope you'll enjoy this video. I hope you'll just sit back and relax and let me take you through my entire collection. And yeah, let's find a place to start and we'll just get right into this. Alright, so we're going to start by looking at this end wall here, where I have some of my life-size props hanging. The reason for us starting here is that, well, I feel that one of the biggest changes that happened to my display was to take down the portrait or photo of Audrey Hepburn that I have had hanging here on the wall ever since I moved into this apartment. It's been hanging there from day one, basically, even before I had my entire display here. And I just found it so charming and so unique that I wanted to kind of just leave it there. But now I finally decided to kind of change that around, and I basically swapped it out with my Captain America shield. Previously that shield had been standing on the ground as well, but now they kind of just swapped places. And I wanted to do that because I really feel that this corner here next to my Iron Man bust and also Thor's hammer Mjolnir on the top left here, it kind of is this perfect little corner of my collection where I have Avengers stuff hanging. So yeah, I kind of decided that now was the right time to make this change here. But I haven't really abandoned her. She's standing there on the floor now, kind of by random, but I kind of like it still. I like the idea that she's still there. I'm probably a bit sentimental when it comes to stuff like that, but I think it's maybe a bit charming and it adds a bit of flavor to how things look, I think. But essentially, I decided it was for the best to kind of change it up and hang my Captain America shield here. So yeah, the shield is from EFX Collectibles, the company that kind of took over after Master Replicas stopped. It's made out of fiberglass, so it's not a metal shield, but it looks very much like metal because of the paint application. It's a perfect representation of the movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's just a prop that I really love because it's so iconic, and I just love having this in my collection. And I really feel that this spot for it now is just perfect. I think it looks awesome as it's hanging here. And it's hanging in the mount that also came along with the collectible, the shield, which is a really nice display option. So yeah, I think it looks really good as it's hanging here. Right underneath my shield I have another life-size replica hanging, which is Frostmourne, the sword of Arthas or the Lich King from the Warcraft series. It's made by Epic Weapons quite a few years ago now, and it's made in a limited edition size that I can't remember right now. This is a very, very rare object, and I'm really, really proud to finally have it in my collection. I was able to strike a really good deal on this piece here from a local seller here in Denmark. Usually when these pieces pop up on eBay or other places, they are insanely expensive because they are just so rare. And we are talking about authentic pieces, the originals, not the copies that you see all over the place. But I got the certificate with this piece here, so I know for a fact that this is an original. But it means a lot to me to have this piece in my collection, and the reason for that is I grew up with Warcraft. I played all the games and I spent thousands upon thousands of hours within World of Warcraft. It's just a universe that I'm really attached to. I have strong feelings towards it and a lot of nostalgia towards it as well. So it means a great deal to me to have this piece within my collection because it represents a big part of me somehow. And yeah, it hangs here on the wall instead of one of my older pieces, the Boromir sword from Lord of the Rings. And I also used to have two other swords standing in this corner, the Andúril and Strider swords also from Lord of the Rings, of course. But I decided to take them out of this display because it looked a bit too cramped and messy, having all those pieces standing there in this corner. And I really prefer having it a bit more clean and simple, as you can see here. So I took out my Lord of the Rings swords and put them somewhere else, and I'm gonna show you that later on in this video. I'm actually very happy with the place they ended up. So yeah, it means a lot to me to have this piece in my collection. It's just a very fine piece. It weighs 8 kilograms or something, so it's a massive solid piece made out of steel. Really uncomfortable to hold, but it looks amazing, I think. I'm so happy with how things turned out in this corner here. The next piece we're going to have a look at is the battle damaged Iron Man bust from Sideshow Collectibles. It's also a life-size piece, well, sort of. It's kind of small for its size actually, but it's still a piece that I really love. I had this piece for years now. It's one of my first pieces from Sideshow, and as you can see, I have it standing here out in the open rather than inside one of the cabinets, because I feel that would have looked a bit too cramped and claustrophobic. So I really prefer having it out in the open here, and having it standing here in this corner and the shield of Captain America hanging on the wall right next to it. I just feel that this is perfect. They complement each other so well, I think. So I'm really happy having this piece still in my collection. No plans of getting rid of it, and no plans of changing where it is displayed. I really feel that this is the perfect spot for it. Alright, so on top of my cabinets I have these 5 other life-size prop replicas standing. Nothing has really changed here since my last videos, but in case you haven't seen any of those, I'll just briefly run over all the pieces here. The first piece is the hammer of Thor Mjolnir. It's by EFX Collectibles, which is the same company that did my Captain America shield. And it's an awesome piece. It's really heavy, so it has a really nice feel. It has a metal construction and genuine leather parts in some places, so it's a very impressive piece, and it's, in my opinion, the best representation of Mjolnir that has been made for collectors. It's presented on this awesome base here that has almost a mirror-like finish to it, and it also has a display plaque. It's a piece that I'm very happy to have, and I love having it displayed right here, because then it's standing next to my other life-size Avenger pieces, and it's as if I have this kind of holy trinity standing here in my display in the corner here, and I really like that. The next piece is the First Order Stormtrooper helmet by Arnovos. This is from their budget line, which is like a cheaper line. They also have a premium line of collectibles that are way more expensive. But I just wanted a simple helmet to kind of represent the new movie and the new design of the Stormtrooper, and I found that I got that very well here with this piece from Arnovos. I'm really happy to have it. I love the design of the new Stormtroopers. It's really cool, I think. And then we have my first Master Replicas piece that I ever got, which is the Luke Skywalker lightsaber Elite Edition. I actually think my very first video for this YouTube channel was of this item here, so it's a piece that I really love to have. It means a lot to me. It's based on the lightsaber from A New Hope, but it's actually based more specifically on the promotion material that was made for the movie. But yeah, it's a beautiful piece. It's made out of metal parts, and it also comes in this nice display packaging here, which is awesome, I think. And then we have a Stormtrooper helmet, also from A New Hope. You can tell from some of the details, for example, the green eye lenses. It's by EFX Collectibles. It's also one of their budget pieces. So as with my first order helmet, which was from Anovos, this one is from EFX, but they also have like this budget line that has more of a cheap finish, but still looks awesome, I think. It's from their Precision Cast series, I think it's called. But it's a piece that I'm very happy to have. I mean, any fan of Star Wars, I feel, should have a Stormtrooper helmet in their collection. Alright, the next and final piece on top of my cabinets here is the Han Solo blaster, also from A New Hope, and this is also an Elite Edition. And Elite Edition basically means that the piece looks brand new. It has no wear or battle damage or anything. It looks like a factory made piece that is brand new. And similar to my lightsaber, it comes in this nice packaging with a display box and everything, and a plaque as well. And I think it's pretty cool that I have all these pieces that are all based on the A New Hope movie, rather than a mix of different movies. It's like a nice continuity to kind of have, I think. And some of the best designs I find are also from A New Hope. So yeah, I'm very pleased with these pieces here. Nothing has really changed on this shelf here, so I kind of like it as it is right now, and I'm not planning on getting rid of anything or anything like that. So right underneath my Han Solo blaster, inside the Besta cabinet, I have one of my first custom statues that I got, which is a quarter-scale Gambit statue based on the appearance of him in the Marvel vs. Capcom games. I find that this is a beautiful piece that really represents Gambit very well. He has a beautiful sculpt and design here. The colors are very bright and saturated, but you have to keep in mind that the design decisions that were made for this piece were based on the video games. But I still find him to represent the character extremely well, and there's just many aspects of this piece that I really like. I decided to put him in this room here because he needed to be kind of elevated due to his pose, and in order to get a good view on him. And that also meant that I had to take one of my older pieces and put somewhere else, which is the Conan and the Prize statue that we'll get around to later on in this video. But I'm really happy to have him in my collection. I just love having a Gambit because he's one of the coolest X-Men, I think. So it means a lot to have this piece in my collection, and personally I feel that this is one of the best representation of the character in a quarter scale. So right next to Gambit we have one of my older pieces, which is the Alien Warrior Maquette by Sideshow Collectibles. This is a piece that I'm still very happy to have, and it has just remained in the same spot in my display almost ever since I got him. And it's a piece that I'm happy with because I just feel that the design here is just a very strong one. It really represents the alien mythology quite well. And in my opinion, this is probably the best alien statue ever made. End of discussion. It doesn't matter what scale we are talking or anything. This is just the best representation of the Alien series, I think. And I've also noticed that the popularity of this piece has kind of gone up in recent years. I've gotten several offers on this piece, but I've declined all of them because I have no plans of getting rid of this piece, even though some of the offers that I got was actually quite interesting. So yeah, I'm still very happy and proud to have this piece, and I feel so blessed because I got this piece from a local seller here in Denmark, which is just so unlikely, and I doubt that will ever happen again unless I myself decide to put him up for sale maybe. But I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. Right next to my Alien Warrior Maquette we have another piece by Sideshow Collectibles, which is the Iron Man Mark 6 Maquette. This is again one of my older pieces in my collection, but he's been standing in the same room here in my collection for years now, and I'm still very happy to have this piece in my collection. I still find that this is one of the best and most iconic representations of Iron Man, and even though the Mark 6 armor is getting a bit dated now, I still find it to be one of my favorite armors. So yeah, I'm still very pleased to have this piece in my collection, and as it stands today, I wouldn't swap this piece out with any other quarter scale statue of Iron Man, even though there has been made quite a few new ones since I got this piece here years ago. And right next to him in the same room here, I have a strange companion to him, which is the Darth Talon premium format from the Star Wars Legacy universe. And yeah, it might seem like an odd couple to have these two statues together, and I must admit that I put Darth Talon here mostly out of necessity, because I needed a place to put her where she would be standing safely, and I just threw her in here without really giving it too much thought. And yeah, she's been standing there ever since. It's not really ideal and it doesn't really make sense thematically, but I kind of find them to be kind of charming, and both of them are like very important and popular sideshow statues. So yeah, I don't really mind that they are standing here together. It might seem like an odd couple, but yeah, I'm just very happy with it still. Darth Talon is one of my very first statues that I got. So it's a piece that I have many feelings towards, and I really love the Star Wars Legacy storyline, even though it has kind of been dethroned ever since that Disney took over Star Wars and kind of eradicated the whole extended universe. I still feel that this is a very iconic piece. It belongs to the golden era of sideshow collectibles, so I'm still very happy and proud to have this piece in my collection. Alright, so let's move one level down in my display and start from the very most right. Here I have my SpiderMan Comiket, which is also from Sideshow Collectibles. I've had this piece for quite a few years now, and it's still one of my most prized possessions. The reason for that is Spider-Man is simply one of my absolute favorite superheroes. He's the superhero that I grew up with, so I really like this character a lot. And it means a lot to me to have this character represented within my collection. A lot of other companies have gone to make a new quarter-scale statue featuring Spider-Man, but I don't really feel that any of them are strong contenders compared to this one. I still feel that this particular Spider-Man statue does everything that it needs for me to have the perfect and most iconic Spider-Man in my collection. Right next to Spider-Man we have another piece by Sideshow Collectibles, which is the Conan the Prize statue. And I know it's a bit of a weird mix to have Conan and Spider-Man displayed together, but you shouldn't really read too much into it. I simply needed the space, so it's mainly out of practical reasons that I put him here. But anyways, this is a very cool piece by Sideshow. I think it's a piece that really represents the character of Conan quite well. It's a bit cheesy that he has this woman on his shoulder, but I would also argue that it's somewhat of a selling point of this statue. And I really just find it charming, and it kind of represents the nature and the lore of the Conan universe and Conan himself. So in that regard, I find this piece to be very iconic and a good representation of the character. It's a piece that I'm very happy with. It's a bit smaller scale than 1:4, I think it's 1:5, and in fact it's actually a diorama. But yeah, I love this piece, it's very charming I think, and I'm still very happy to have it in my collection. In the next room I have my Red Sonja premium format by Sideshow Collectibles. This is a relatively new piece that came out I think last year, and in my opinion this is one of the absolute best female sculpts ever made in quarter scale by Sideshow or any other company. It's just really strong I think. And that's also one of the reasons that I've decided to keep this piece and dedicate relatively much space for it in my collection. It's just a very high level product I think. The factory did an amazing job with the paint application as well. It's probably not prototype level, but it's still very high level paint application. So yeah, I'm really happy to have this piece in my collection, even though I'm not really that familiar with Red Sonja and her background and everything. I still decided to keep her and dedicate relatively much space in my collection for this particular piece. I think that in and of itself says a lot about how I feel about this piece. Right next to Red Sonja we have yet another custom statue, which is Cyclops, also based on the Marvel vs. Capcom appearance of him. And yeah, I know that Cyclops is probably a character that kind of divides the whole fan base a bit. To me, I really think that he's a cool character. He will always be the leader of the X-Men, I think, and I really like his costume as well with these simple colors. He looks very retro in a way, and I really like that. He comes with a light up function as well in his eye beam thingy, but I'm not gonna show that in this video. You can go and check out my review instead if you're curious and want to know some more details about this particular statue. But I'm really happy to have him in my collection. Up until this point I haven't really seen other cool quarter scale renditions of Cyclops, but I do know that there are some companies working on a quarter scale Cyclops right now, and I'm really eager and excited to see what they come up with. But for now, this is the ultimate Cyclops statue to me, and I'm really happy to have him in my collection. In the next room, nothing has really changed over the past couple of years. I still have my Boba Fett and Aurra Singh premium formats on display here, along with a photo of Boba Fett in the background, which has been signed by the actor Jeremy Bulloch. So yeah, I'm still very pleased with this corner of my collection, and I don't really have any plans of changing anything here. It's very old school, as you can see, and there's just something very magical about these two pieces. It's as if they come to life when I'm looking at them. I don't really know what it is, but I just really love this. So I haven't really had any plans on changing anything when it comes to this particular room in my display. Although Sideshow is coming up with a new version of Boba Fett again this year, I'm really looking forward to seeing that up close, because it looks like a strong contender to the one I have here, and who knows, I might actually end up swapping them out. I don't really know. But for now, I'm still very happy with this particular room in my display, because I just love the way that these two characters look when they are displayed together. It's basically as simple as that. So yeah, everything here remains the same as it always has been. Alright, so on the same level but outside my display cabinets, we have my life-size Boba Fett bust, also by Sideshow Collectibles. And yeah, you could say that Boba Fett is kinda well represented within my collection. I guess that goes to show how much I really like the character of Boba Fett. This is a piece I've had for years. I had it even before I made this display here, so it's a piece that I feel very strongly about as well. I know that Sideshow is making a new life-size Boba Fett bust. They showed this piece at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con this year, and it was even my top pick from that whole convention. But still, I think it's very unlikely that I'll be getting rid of this piece, because it's actually signed by Jeremy Bulloch. I met him and he touched it, he signed it on the back, so I think it's very unlikely that I'll be swapping out this older version with the new one. I just feel too strongly about this piece here, so it's probably gonna remain in my collection for many years to come. Maybe I'll change a bit how I'm displaying it, maybe I'll move it somewhere else, I don't really know at this time. Time will tell, it really depends what I get in the future. Right next to him we have a new piece that I also got, which is the quarter scale Ghost Rider by XM Studios. This is an incredible statue. I think it's really impressive, but it did require of me to sacrifice a bit. I had to let go of my XM Thanos and XM Phoenix statues in order to be able to get this piece and also to be able to display him properly. But yeah, I really feel that it was worth it, because this piece is just incredible. The design and the complexity of him, just the overall appearance is just something very unlikely. It's very unique, and I would never have imagined ever to see something like this. It's just an amazing statue, and I find that this spot that I gave him is just the perfect place for him. It's the best use of this corner in my display, I think, and he just fits in very well. He's a really eye-catching piece. So yeah, I'm really happy and proud to have him in my collection today. He's probably amongst my top 3 of my statues in my entire collection today. But yeah, it required a bit of sacrifice, because he's really huge. He weighs, I think, more than 20 kilograms. So it's a very heavy and intense piece in a way. He takes up a lot of space, so you have to have some extra space available in order to be able to display him in a good way, I think. But I'm really happy with the end result today, and I'm really happy to have this piece in my collection. Right underneath my life-size Boba Fett bust, I still have my Hulk premium format by Sideshow Collectibles. It's still standing there in the same room like the last time I did this video, and the reason for that is I simply don't have a better way right now of displaying him. It's really a shame, because he's a massive piece, he's really impressive, and he deserves quite a lot more exposure. but right now I simply don't have that option. But I'm still happy to keep him in my collection because he fits in quite well along with the rest of my Avengers characters. So I'm happy to have him, and maybe in the future I'll be able to display him in a better way. Who knows? But yeah, for now he's standing down there, kinda hidden away like a hidden gem, and that's just how it has to be right now. Right next to Hulk we have yet another piece that hasn't really changed since the last time I did this video. That is the quarter scale Thor statue by XM Studios. And similar to Hulk, this piece is really massive and immense. It kind of deserves a bit more exposure, but I simply don't have the display option in order to achieve that right now. So for now, he's standing here and I don't have really any plans of changing that up. It's a piece that I'm still very happy with. I feel that he's kind of underrated. We do have a lot of Thor statues in quarter scale on the market, and I feel that this one is kind of underrated and doesn't quite get the acknowledgement that it deserves, because it's quite an amazing and impressive statue, I think. I don't really know if it's the design that's maybe a bit too plain, and the base and everything, but if you see this piece in front of you in real life, you are going to be very impressed by it, because it has a very huge and towering presence if you see it standing on a table, for example. So yeah, I'm still very happy to have this piece, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to display him in a better way. But for now, I'm happy to have him standing right here. In the next room we have yet another odd couple, but this time around it kinda makes sense because it's Deadpool and Cable. And if you know the comics, you know that these two guys kinda have a lot to do with each other. So I'm really happy to be able to display these two characters together in this compartment here. The Deadpool is of course the quarter scale premium format by Sideshow, the first Deadpool they made in this scale. And it's a really sought after piece these days. Even though Sideshow is making a new version, I think this older one is still the more favored one amongst collectors, so I'm still very happy to have him in my collection. I've moved him around quite a bit in my display over the course of time, because he's a very compact piece, so you have a bit of freedom where you want to display him. But I decided to pair him up with my new XM Cable statue because they just fit each other so well, I think. And the XM Studios Cable statue that I got is also quarter scale, of course. I got it very recently. It's an amazing statue, and I must say that it's probably amongst my top 3 in my entire collection. XM did an amazing job with this statue, I think. It has such an amazing presence, and the level of detail and just the way that he looks in general, it's just perfect. It's something very unique and remarkable, I think. So I'm very proud and happy to have him in my collection as well. It was lucky that I could fit him in this compartment with Deadpool. I had to kind of remove a piece from the base that was separate in order to squeeze them in here. But I think that the end result is very good, and it just looks awesome, I think. And this Cable statue is just mind-blowingly awesome. So I'm very pleased to have him today. Right next to Deadpool and Cable, we have yet another room in my display that hasn't really changed over the last couple of years. Here we have the Gentle Giant quarter scale Black Widow, along with the Captain America premium format by Sideshow Collectibles. And I really feel that these two characters complement each other incredibly well, and that's also the reason why I haven't really changed this part of my display in a long time. The Captain America that I have is the exclusive. That means that he comes with a swap out portrait as well as a swap out shield. You can actually see both shields here. And from time to time I do go in and change out some of the swap out parts. But overall I really rarely change anything about this display because it looks awesome. I think these two characters just fit each other incredibly well. Even though one is from the movies and one is more based on the comic appearance, I would say that these two are a very good match. So yeah, nothing has really changed here. I'm still very happy with this part of my display. Finally, we have the last room in my display cabinet here, which consists of two characters that I've put together. On the left we have the quarter scale Wolverine by XM Studios, and on the right we have the 1:5 scale Punisher comic head by Sideshow Collectibles. And I must admit that the reason that I've put these two together is mainly due to practical reasons. Both of these statues feature a relatively small base, so it's easy to fit them in next to each other within one room of my display cabinet here. There's a good balance between the two because the quarter scale Wolverine is relatively small of its scale, and therefore it fits quite nicely with my 1:5 scale Punisher. So there's a good balance and they are pretty even in the display here. So I'm actually quite happy with the end result. Now earlier in this video I mentioned my Lord of the Rings swords and how I had to take them out of my main display and put them somewhere else. I actually have quite a few swords, and up until this point they've been kind of scattered about my entire apartment. Some of them were lying on top of books in my bookcase, others were standing in a random corner somewhere, so they never really were on display in a proper way. But I finally took the time to change a few things in my other room. I set up a new desk for my computer in a corner, and I decided to hang all my swords on the wall behind it. And I really feel that the end result is really nice. Now I have all my swords on display here next to each other. They complement each other incredibly well, I think. And they are also hanging on each of their own individual plaques here that they originally came with. So I really feel that the display of my swords now is close to perfection. I just think it looks really nice and it's very cozy, and it's just nice to be able to see them every day when I'm sitting in front of my computer. And I also just love the way that my lamp here on my desk shines on the blades here. It really makes the metal parts stand out and pop. So yeah, I love what it ended up being. I think it looks really cool now, and I'm really happy and satisfied with it. Alright guys, I think that basically wraps up this video for now. Now as you can see, a lot has actually happened to my display and my collection since I did this video last time, 1 year ago. And I did have to make some tough calls along the way, having to let go some of my pieces like the Batman premium format, Poison Ivy and Wonder Woman premium formats. And as I also mentioned, my XM Thanos and my XM Phoenix. So yeah, I had to struggle with some decisions along the way, but overall I feel I came out on the positive side of things, and I feel that I've improved my collection since last. But yeah, this is a constant battle, especially if you are working with a very limited space as I am. You constantly have to evaluate whether or not you want a new piece, because there are so many new companies coming out with awesome statues these days, and there's constantly something tempting you, and that makes you have to face, well, this decision of whether of letting something go in order to be able to get something new. So yeah, I think it's quite healthy actually to kind of evaluate your collection as you go, and having to constantly decide whether or not there's something you want to change, because you can't just get everything and then squeeze it in there. Every time you get something new, you also have to let go of something old, I think. And that's the case for me, at least. I know that there are some people out there, some collectors that has so much space that they can almost just get anything that they want without having to let anything go. But that's not me. I find myself constantly battling between changes and stuff like that. But overall, I'm very happy with where my display and my collection is today. And I'm still enjoying this hobby quite a lot. But it is a different thing to be a collector today if you compare it with maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. There are many new companies, there's a larger population of collectors as well, and that kind of changes the pricing, the edition sizes and everything about this hobby quite a bit. So it's a different landscape that we are navigating through today, but it's still a very enjoyable hobby, and I know some awesome people through this hobby, and I'm very grateful for that. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I really enjoyed making it. And do leave me a like and subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions or comments to anything that you've seen throughout this video, of course leave them in the section below. So for now, thanks a lot for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in my next video.